Laugh, Talk, Giggle. I'm Lady J. Today we have co-host Yvonne here. We have the fabulous minister Nina Nero, and we have Key. Right? All right. So all the ladies are here today. We're going to talk about relationships, sex, all kinds of things, and you are going to answer questions because we want to know what you're talking about over there.
Okay.
So we're going to let Minister Nero introduce herself, give you a little background on her history, and then we're going to go from there.
Well, hello everybody. I am Pastor Nina Nero. I pastor the Fresh Oil Ministries, and we have two locations, one in Inkster and one on the east side of Detroit. I can't say a native of Detroit because I was born and raised in California, but I've been here my whole adult life. I was married for 30 years and am now a widow. My husband died from COVID-19. So I have two lovely daughters. One, which was my oldest daughter, was shot in the head in 2019. She survived, but we're still praying for her. And I am an author. I wrote two books. I brought one. Yeah, I brought my second book. It's called Pain Won't Change My Mind. My first one is called Sheep the After Effect, and you can go on Amazon. Yeah, and it's on Amazon, or you can find me on all my social media platforms, and we have copies as well. So I'm just so happy to be here with Jenny. She's such a jewel to us, and I thank God for it, and I hope I covered who I was.
You did. I want to, even though we're talking about relationships, I just want to kind of get on your book. Mm-hmm. So what does this change? Pain won't change my mind. What does that mean?
In essence, not allowing the pain of life to deter you from life.
Okay.
So many times, I've been in pain in so many areas. I'm going to use my teeth as an example.
Okay.
Because for years and years and years, I had bad teeth, horrible teeth. Mm-hmm. So I stayed in pain. Every 6 months, I had to have a tooth pulled. Or I was on antibiotics. It was just horrible. But nothing about the pain ever detoured me from life. I'd just take a pill.
Okay.
I'd suffer through it, and then the next day, I'm off and running, right?
Okay.
But sometimes pain has a tendency to alter your life. Because people will get in physical pain and they won't move. They'll stay home. They'll reroute their whole lives based on their pain. And when it will change your mind from what you were intended to do in life. Because I know people right now, as a pastor, that have, one lady in particular, she's in pain every day. Just some type of pain every day. And so our conversations are always directed towards her pain.
Oh, wow. Is that her doing that? Or
No, it's always her.
Okay.
My this, my that. I'm suffering in this area. So then I'll say, okay, so what are you going to do today? I was going to do blank, 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 but I'm in pain. So pain changed her mind. You understand? Okay. And instead of her pursuing whatever the goal was for the day, she was stopped because of the pain. So many times our emotions, this is an emotional book.
Okay.
Where your emotions will stop you from life. So you can't let it change your mind. I don't care what you go through. You got to keep pushing.
Oh, I know that's deep. Because a lot of times it's not, like you said, emotional, but it's not just a physical pain. It is a psychological pain. Or it's a pain that we perceive that you can't see. You can't see that I'm hurting. You can't see that I'm in pain, but I'm diverting and I'm changing my plan.
Yeah.
So when I read this, I was thinking my goals in life. So if I have a goal to write my own book, but psychologically, it might not even be a pain for you guys, but it might just be my anxiety, my fear of achieving something. So I'm like, that causes anxiety can cause you a psychological or psychosocial pain. So you feel like, I can't do this. So that's why I was asking, because I wanted to make sure I was still on point when I read it, because that's interesting, because a lot of people don't address it.
No.
They just, I talked to someone today who has chronic pain, and she was telling me that, she had not gone to a pain doctor, and her doctor had not referred her to one. And so it has been a month that she's been trying to get in. So she finally got an appointment next week, but she said her blood pressure was over 200 when she went to the doctor. But she's she's telling them it's the pain. And they're like, but you're close to stroking out, so you can't, they were asking her, did she have a headache and different symptoms, and she said she didn't. But she still went into the hospital and everything, and she said she's talking to the ER doctor and telling him this pain is causing my blood pressure, and it's and that's why it's elevated, but it's stopping everything that I do.
Right.
And he told her that there's so many people abusing pain meds, etc., that they don't want to give, this pain medication.
Especially people of color.
Yeah, it's like, oh no, you're trying to be an addict, you're trying to hustle a pill.
Right.
So she told me, she said, I'm not going to let this pain rule my life.
Exactly.
Because I'm asking her, what are you doing? Because you don't have no pain medication other than over-the-counter stuff. And she said, he gave me 7 pills. And I said, is that enough? And she's like, no. Because I guess she has a severe back injury. So she was like, it's not enough, but it's enough to take the edge off so she can continue functioning. But she said, I've been doing it for the last couple of months.
Wow.
But she said, I'm not letting it change. She said, you see, I got up and answered the phone when you called. She said, I could have just sat there and looked at it. And so I was like, well, what are you doing? What are you meditating? Are you soaking in the tub? She's like, I can't get up and get in the tub. She said, I'm just sitting here on this couch. She said, but I'm still managing to do things. And she said, God's working me through it. And that was what she had just said. And it was amazing to me how to be in that type of chronic pain and still have this, because she wasn't sad on the phone. She wasn't angry. She wasn't like yelling. She was just like, hey. And then she's like, by the way, this, because I asked her how it went. She said, I went to the hospital. So people like that versus I know other people who would be like, oh, I'm just going to sit here on the couch all day. I can't do nothing. I can't go out. I can't do anything. And pain is subjective. So, I can't tell you your pain is bad or minute. I can't say, oh, your pain's not that bad, because it's subjective. It's each person. But I think more so it's I don't even know if it's our desire to overcome or our desire to continue forward. I don't know what pushes each person.
Well, most of the time, I would say we are victims. We
like to be victims. It's a good thing to be a victim. Everybody feels sad for me. Everybody gonna pat me on my shoulder. Like, oh, look at Jay.
So we absorb in that victim mentality, and it's easier for me to succumb to it and just let it change my mind, because somebody's gonna bring me some soup. Somebody's gonna bring me some pills. Somebody's gonna, you know what I'm saying? Somebody's gonna pat me. Somebody's gonna make me feel good about this pain, when everything that we have and we need is already in us. There's a scripture that says, I've given you power to tread on the head, to overcome. I've given it to you. So I don't have to have you come and bring me some soup. I have the power to get up and get my own soup. It's just kind of a mind over matter, and so the more we use our mind for overcoming, the more we overcome. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
What they say, life and death is in the power of the tongue.
It's in your power, It's in your power.
You speak all that out.
And it's so powerful because it works both ways. It can either work for you positively or negatively. It's just based on what result you want. And when I wrote this book, Pain Won't Change My Mind, my daughter had been shot in the head. My husband, a year later, 11 months later, died from COVID. I'm sitting in a room trying to figure out, how do I survive this? How do I go from a paralyzed child who her father and I had dedicated our lives to taking care of. So now I'm got to take care of them alone, and I got a church to pastor alone. You know, I have to now live alone after 30 years. So it wasn't anything for pain to change my mind. Because I started finding the bitches I could find. You know, I found every B word, and I called everybody everything until I started writing. And when I started writing, then I discovered that the pain made me powerful. It didn't make me pitiful.
Okay. Yeah, I like that.
I reversed it, and I used it because I went to the cross. And I had to look at how Jesus was there not of his own accord.
Right.
Not of anything because of anything he did or said or none of that. But he endured that pain not only because it was a part of his purpose, but because for me, for somebody like me, like, you did that for me?
Right.
And when I started processing how powerful it must have been to know I'm taking this on for you niggas.
Right. I know that's right. I got you.
I'm doing this. You know what I'm saying? Even though I asked God to take this cup from me, he didn't decide to. So guess what? I'm on the cross for you.
That's right.
And I had to put myself in
Right
that
there.
same mind frame. You know, I can do this.
And that's a hard place to be because it's easier said than done.
Absolutely.
And I just talk from my own experience, from the things I've overcome throughout my life, that, you know, I'll talk to people and they be like, you don't even care about such and such that happened to you. Or, you know, the different things that I've gone through. People say you don't care. And it's not that I don't care, it's that I've overcome. So I don't have any guilt attached to the things that happened because they happened to me. Not because it's something I did, but it was something that happened to me.
Right.
So I don't have that guilt associated with it, but I can say that it's, even though I've overcome a lot, I still have so much fear in things that I do. Like, I have a book that is 100% written and it's still not published. Because the fear is, nobody's going to like this book. They be like, bitch, if you don't sit down, we don't want to read this shit. So, you know, it's a fear. And I'm speaking from truth. That fear has kind of stopped me from moving forward and completing it. I have a second book that's technically written. It's just not all put in place. And it's still not done. So in my head, I'm like, okay, I'm going to release them both in January. But I'm supposed to do that January 2021. We're going into January 2022. So I have used all of the stuff around me to put it in front of me so I could push that back. So it's a fear. It's, you know, I'm being honest. It's a fear of, not that I'm a fail, because to me, once it's done, it's done.
It's done,
Right.
It's acceptance. It's like, oh, you wrote a book. Anybody can write a book. Any monkey with an ink pen. I'm just being honest. But it's that monkey who pushes it out there and lets people see, because you're now showing a piece of who you are.
Right.
You're showing, you're exposing yourself. You're exposing your intelligence or lack of. You're exposing your experience or lack of. You're exposing a piece that everyone doesn't always get to see. So this, it resonated with me because though I don't have pain and fear are subjective to me. They're the same.
Together,
Yes.
You know, both of them are not really gifts.
Yeah.
You know, when you look at it,
Right.
it's something that we have seen and took on and said, that's mine.
Yeah.
So that's how we kind of look at things. That's how I look at it. So this right here for me is just like a message coming. You know, even though I know we're here to speak of something else, this right here just sat with me, and I'm like, I need to do what I said I was going to do, because I feel like I have people asking me, when you going to put that book out? When people read it, they're like, I like it. It's not for everybody. I'm not for everybody. Your book is not for everybody. There's no book for everybody.
No.
But it's really, when I think you and I spoke earlier, it's about
We
that
did.
accomplishment of
We
putting
did.
it out there, because it can be an idea that manifests itself into reality, or it could just stay an idea.
Right.
Because no matter how many times I've written it and got it sitting here, until I put it out there, it's just an idea. It's just, I wrote it, but it's not done. So this right here for me speaks magnitudes, and it just, I think this was the time that it should have been, I should have heard this message. So I
And
thank
you know, I became an author before I had a GED.
Really? See,
My first book I wrote, I didn't have. It's our.
It's our 15
Yes.
year, right? I'm sorry.
So you're watching Laugh Talk Giggle on WJZZ Cool TV, which is the coolest station in the world. Streaming live every Monday at 7 p.m. on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitter Live. Please subscribe, share, and like, and comment. Please.
Share it with someone. Someone can
Yes.
hear the message.
Right.
Okay, thank
Somebody
you.
needs this.
So, when I first wrote my first book,
And what's the name of your first book?
Sheep: The After Effect. It was
Sheep, the
yeah,
After
Sheep:
Effect.
The After Effect.
What does that mean?
I want to say about 10 years ago, God gave me this vision of how pastors mess up sheep, and how after he have to fix them, how they're left. So the after effect of what you've done to them.
Wow, that's powerful.
Yeah.
People don't talk about that.
Right. I'm sitting here like,
Like,
that's
that's
the effect of the sheep.
That's not something. And you
Really?
think about all the pastors, some of these ones that's had falls.
Yeah.
And the people who were so dedicated to them. I I'm just being honest, I don't even know if I thought about the sheep.
Nobody does. That's why he took me on this journey and literally showed me what happens to sheep after leaders finish with them.
Wow.
He took me in this room. I'm just going to give you a small synopsis.
Okay.
He took me in this room, and in the first room we went into were millions of them.
Okay.
Million of regular white sheep.
Okay.
And they were beautiful. Coats were full. They were fed and healthy. And I was standing there like, wow. He said, no. Let's go to the next room. So he took me down this long corridor, and there was doors on each side. This is what the book is about. Doors on each side. And the next door we went into was sheep in there. These sheep were messed up. Some of them had their eyes popping out. Some of them didn't have ears. Some of their teeth were all gone. Their tongues were hanging out of their mouths. They had one arm missing. Some of them had half human babies, half sheep babies.
Oh, wow.
Oh, whoa. Okay.
So I'm standing there, and tears started to come out of my eyes. Like, where did these sheep come from?
Right.
He said, these are the same sheep, Nina.
Wow.
I said, what do you mean? He said, this is the after effect. After you all finish with them, you rape them, you abuse them, you molest them, you have babies by them. This is what I
That's
have to
deep.
deal with. You know, a preacher told me, a big time preacher. I gave him the first copy of the book. He said, this book will never go anywhere.
Wow.
I said, really? And why is that? He said, you think a preacher is going to allow you to give this book to his members? He said, you're putting down pastors. I said, no, I'm bringing to light pastors.
Right, because they're men, they're human.
I said, that's okay. And literally, that book got shut down.
Are you serious?
Shut
Oh,
down.
I believe it.
They
I
shut it
believe
down.
it.
Now that's just
yes.
that's just the second door. There were 10 doors.
Wow. So each book, each chapter is about a door and what was
Yes.
behind there?
Yes.
Wow. What is
Wow.
the
You were saying too much.
what
I
is
was
the
telling
out
story.
the end of it? So when you get to chapter, I'm just assuming,
mhm.
when you get to chapter 10, 11, is that a culmination of all 10 chapters, or is that your perspective, or what do you? How
No.
is that?
At the last door were the sheep that he put back together. How he mended them. So even though he put the eye back in, now it was crossed.
Oh.
He put the ear back on, but it was upside down. So he showed me the actual after effect how they turn out.
Okay.
And at the end of the 10th door, he pushed me forward, and I saw a lake of blood. And he said, now all of this is required at the hand of you preachers. So the essence of the book is, this is what you all have done to my sheep, and their blood is required on your hand. So you're going to pay for everyone you hurt.
Wow. That's deep.
You're going to pay for everyone you wounded.
Wow.
So, and it's a short book. It's only like 25, 30 pages.
So I can see somebody saying
Yeah.
you can't,
Yeah.
because they may see themselves in there.
Absolutely.
A lot of them.
Absolutely.
A lot of them.
And I you know, for a long time, I didn't go to a lot of different churches, and the reason why is because when I went to churches, and nobody in particular, I'm not going to say, but I had gone to a couple of churches, and the minister or the pastor or whatever you want to call him hit on me. Like right after service, because you know how you the new person, they come out and meet you because you knew. I mean, one time right in front of my husband. You know, had my arm. You know that old Ray Charles. Did y'all see that movie when he was man was squeezing my arm, and I'm standing there like, what the? So for me, a lot of times I say, I don't, and I use that as an excuse. I'm gonna be honest. I'm like, oh, I'm not going to church because every time I go to church, somebody is inappropriate with me, pastor, deacon, somebody saying something, and so I use that as my foundation of not going to church. And what I did in return was I took my prayer up at home. And I would say, well, you know, the first churches there were no walls, and you would just, you know, but then I would always have someone come back to me and say, well, where two or more gathered. And things, they would bring a scripture to me and saying the reason why I need to still get there, because I need to be in a building of like mind so I can understand what I'm interpreting. Because if you're left to your own interpretations, that's where you got Jim Jones. Was it Jim Jones?
Jim Jones.
Yeah.
You get your own interpretation.
Right. Yes.
Right, you get a different
Right, take a drink. Sweetie.
right, so you get that different thing. But I feel that because I do understand it, and to a point. I mean, for me, it was those actions that made me not want to be there. But when I go into certain churches and the Holy Spirit fills me, I know that's where I need to be, because I have gone into churches and been there 5 minutes and I've just went out and started to cry, because when the Holy Spirit hit me, I cry.
Yeah.
I just, it's uncontrollable. I can't say I'm only going to cry for one song. It's not.
No,
I
it
can't
don't work
control.
like
So
that.
when I go in, I've been in some churches. I've been in there hours. I'm like, this right here is some bullshit. I ain't like, because I need to be fed. I need my spirit to be fed. If you're not feeding my soul, then I can't come there. I can't return.
Yeah.
And there's some that I go in and I know when I walk in the door. I would never forget one church I went in with my sons, and I said, God is in this building. And they was like, what? And I knew it because by the time I sat down, from walking to the door to sitting down, it had already grabbed me. And they had never seen it. And they were like, because I grew up in sanctified church, though I don't run down the aisles and shake and, you know, flip and twist. But when it hits me, I cry. And I think I cried for an hour. I could not stop crying. My sons were scared. They was like, what's going on? Why she keep crying? My husband was looking at me, and I was like, it's here. It was nothing I could do to move from there. It was there. And it scared me so much I didn't go back. And I'm just being honest. I never went back. And it's Mount Zion. It's right there on Van Dyke. I just never went. I was like, I'm not going back in there. That church got my soul up in there. I can't be sitting up in here. They're going to turn me into wearing. I would just lose my soul in this church. But it was there. It was there. I know that for sure. So, yeah, that book right there, I could see. I'm just thinking of all the big pastors. What's that, Tammy Faye and her husband? Didn't they have something
Jim
similar?
Baker.
Jim Baker, somebody.
So I was going to bring that up too. Sometimes when there's mega churches like that and the pastor and he falls, a lot of the members fall as well, because they've invested so much into him and not realizing he's just a man.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
But you know what? The real problem is he don't keep reminding them
That he's just a man.
Because a lot of times leaders want you to feel like they are above manhood.
Oh, yes.
I am the prophet of God. I am the minister, the
I'm
preacher,
your way to heaven.
right? And
I've heard that.
and it's
Really?
Oh,
it's
yeah.
so sad because what if you drop dead today? Then my salvation went with you. My
Exactly.
my bridge to God went with you. We have a tendency. Well, God, thank you, Father, that I don't do this anymore. But because I am prophetic, because I am a good preacher, because I am a good pastor, I have had there has been a tendency for me to make people see me and not see God. So what God had to do was put me in a relationship with a sinner and have him live in my house as a lover. Wait, what? And you what? But he had to bring me to my reality. You just a hoe saved by grace. Don't forget it. And so you have to direct these people back to me because they're mine. They don't belong to you.
That's right.
Wow, that's powerful.
And so many leaders make people feel like it's about, you better reverence me. Boy, you shit just like I do. Reverence what? No, I honor the Holy Spirit in you, but it's God. This is God's Spirit. It ain't got nothing to do with you. Because remember, if it had not been for Him, where would you be? Let's have that conversation. Let's talk about what would you be if He wasn't in it.
Wow.
Because you have that with Him in there. So what if He was gone? What were you before?
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? So it's easy for people to not, they take God's place and they take His space, and that's not fair. So that's why so many people fall, because the leader doesn't direct them to the Father. This is the Father's business, honey.
That sure is.
And when I woke up and I discovered that I was in sin, I'm like, how did I do this? How did I get here? He said, because you're just I was like, you right.
Lord, if He calling you a hoe, Jesus. Now, wait a minute. What you
All
call
right now.
I get it.
I believe that He never lets me forget. There's always something that will arise to make it remember.
Okay.
Oh, He'll humble you.
But don't you think when the humbling grace comes to you, you have to be willing to see and accept it?
Yeah.
Because I see a lot of times that I've seen people who I thought would have been humbled by something, and they just like, bitch, please. He wasn't talking to me. He talking to all y'all.
Right.
So
Right.
I've seen that.
What's that spirit? The spirit of pride. It overtakes you. It can overtake you, and then you get into the there's a, what is that spirit called? Where you think you are, when you start to feel like it's not about you, but it's everybody else. It's a spirit. It's called. It'll come to me. Right, but
The haughty spirit.
no. It's where He turns you over to a reprobate. That's what I'm trying to say. Well, when you become reprobated, then you're detached from your reality. You know, reprobate makes you feel like that person is not who I really am. I'm this person.
Oh,
And
that's
it
when
doesn't
you
matter.
start believing your I always tell people you're believing the press about you.
Right.
I like that.
Yeah, right. You start believing your own press.
believe in the
Right.
press. When somebody tell you, when
Now that
somebody,
He's a pastor.
right,
Yeah.
somebody
That's
tell you
a
you
whole
a
other
great
story.
man or you're a
Yeah.
great woman. Oh, she is so good at what
Yeah.
she does.
Yeah.
And you believe all the hype, all
Yeah.
the press that
Yeah.
people have put
Yeah.
up about you.
Fall.
And then you believe in the press, but when you wake up and look in the mirror, you're like, you gotta know that that's just press. That's the hype to get you to what you need to be
But
doing.
then some people, maybe they need that in order to pursue the destiny.
That was a great example, by the way. That was
Yeah.
a great example.
Yeah, maybe they need that because, okay, you are a brilliant woman. You are a beautiful woman. But you got 2 books just sitting on the shelf.
Sitting on the shelf.
So, why is that again? Because maybe the hype, haven't nobody fed into your hype, or you haven't fed into it. You know what I'm saying? You haven't allowed yourself an opportunity to push. Go ahead.
You're watching Laugh, Talk, Giggle on WJZZ Cool TV,
See on that?
the coolest station in the world. Streaming live every Monday at 7 p.m. on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitter Live. Please subscribe, share, like, and comment. And we can resume our conversation with the wonderful Miss Pastor Nina Nero.
Yeah, maybe that's one of the things, you know.
It could
You
be.
have to, and then you don't have nobody in your ear.
That's true.
Because people will allow your vision and your dream to die because they don't have one.
You know what?
And they won't encourage you.
I've seen that with other people. I don't know because I mean I have a small circle, so I do agree that you guys that are around me have been saying, hey, get this out, hey, get this out. My guy sister, Evangelist Ingram has been like, get this out, get this out, get this out. And she got so much energy, and she's like, "Go!" And I be like, "Oh,
right. Like, hold on,
I'm not ready. I'm not ready.
Right.
It's got to be
Hold
perfect."
Right, you be like, "Hold on, can I say that again?"
Right. But I agree. But I've seen it with other people. Not my little bitty story, but I've seen other people who I thought were like fabulous. I'm like, why is he not doing this, or why is she not doing this? And I'm like, go, do it. And they're looking at me like, girl, bye. But not just me. Their cheer team was big, and they still didn't go forward. And I'm like, why? And it goes back to this: the pain that won't change your mind has changed their mind or stopped their path. So for me, I think in my own incident, I think it's just a hurdle I have to come across.
Do you ever hear a voice in the back of your head say to you, "Why are you doing that again?"
Oh, doubt stays there.
Oh yeah.
Doubt tells me, you're not good enough for that.
So that's not just doubt, right? That's memory.
Oh, bad memories.
That is implant. That is the thing that you have to push the delete button on.
That's a hard thing because I was just telling someone the other day about implanted memories. They were telling me they were taking some little bitty kids to do something under the age of 5. And it's like, they're going to remember this for the rest of their life. I was like, no. Those are implant memories where you implant and say, hey, you remember when we did this? Remember when we did? You be like, yeah. And they showing pictures, and then they get 30, and they be like, I remember at 5. No, you don't. Because you only remember this one incident. You don't remember nothing else.
Right.
So implanted memories, and I hear what you're saying because it's a positive, but it can be a negative as well. When growing up and your parents telling you not good enough, or people telling you, see, that's how you fail.
Right.
And those things, those are implanted memories that we hold on to, but then that's that victim mentality as well.
Exactly.
Because I don't see myself as a victim. I always say I'm a victor because I've overcome so many things. But there are also things for me, and I can't speak for anyone else, that I know I have not, because it's like, damn, and I'm just be honest, I got to put myself out again. It's like you're always trying to prove that you can do something. And I'm like, why do I always have to be the one? Like, I've always been told, be the better person. Let people do this and say this. And I'm like, why am I one I got to bite my tongue? And then it's like, well, you can do this. Well, why I got to be the first one to do this? So it's like I get tired, or maybe I don't get tired. Maybe, like you say, it's that thought behind my head that says, why you think you always got to be the one to do it? Why you always got to be the one?
Well, because you are a trailblazer?
I never thought of that one.
You are a fire starter.
Now, you start fires, y'all know I start.
And as a fire starter, it's easy for people to push you. Nobody told me I could do this.
Really?
Nobody ever encouraged me to write a book.
The first book?
Nobody. As a matter of fact, my husband, God rest his soul, he said, Nina, dumb people don't write books.
Dumb? You already know. He obviously.
And I told him, I said, this dumb nigga gonna write a book.
I know that's right.
I don't care if I gotta speak it into my phone. God gave me the vision, and I'm gonna write. I don't know who gonna do it, how it's gonna be done, but I'm gonna put this down on paper. And I started going to the notes in my phone, and I went here and I just started recording.
Oh, that's awesome. Because I use notes, but I type notes in. So like if me and you talking and you say something, I'll be like,
we're right here right now in getting ready to I wrote 2 whole books.
Now that's awesome.
I never thought about that.
And then
you were just saying that.
I emailed them to Kelly Cruz and out of Ohio, who wrote this book and my first book. I emailed them to her. She critiqued them, did everything she needed to do, because I had a lot of misspelled words. Even though I did it by voice, you know, sometimes voice mess up too.
Grammar.
Right. It's not always accurate. So she went through it, and when she sent it to me, I was in tears because all I could hear was, you cannot. And I had to say, nigga, you can't tell me what I can't do. Because the Bible says I can do all things.
Through God. Now that's I tell people all the time, I can do, ain't nothing I can't do.
Ain't nothing I can't do.
It's just I got to get over myself because I put my own hurdles in my way, in my path. Like I was telling the executive director before we sat down, and he was asking me something. I was like, I got this to do, and I got that to do, and I got this to do, and I got these 2 books. You know, I throw them up real quick when somebody gets to ask me, I got these 2 books I got to do, and I got this signing agent because I'm a notary, and then I'm like, I got my real estate license, and I got all this stuff on the table. And I was sitting there thinking to myself, you are such a bullshitter. And I was just being honest. I was like, you just bullshitting your way out this conversation because you don't want to do something, or you feel that it's not necessary to do. So this right here, we're about to have you come back because we done skated all around everything. But I think this message is for someone other than me. I don't know, Yvonne, if it hit you anywhere.
Oh, definitely.
We had a conversation. We were talking similar earlier, so it's kind of coming around. But I think this message has been definitely for all of us, and I do want you to come back. I know we still got some time, but I just want to say that publicly.
Yes.
I want to come back.
Yes.
But this, I mean, really. So you wrote the first book. What's the time frame between the 2 books?
The first book was published in 2018, 17.
Okay.
And then this one was 21.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there a third?
Yeah. I'm working on my daughter. I preached this message. Matter of fact, I'm getting ready to go to Texas this weekend. I'm going to preach it again. It had to happen.
Okay.
So I'm in that book, I'm going to be talking about life that had to happen in order for you to be who you are.
Okay. I like that.
You become the great you because of that and that and that. So I'm a life story of stories.
Okay.
You know, I mean, surviving prostitution, surviving drug addiction, surviving being beat up and drugged down Jefferson. When I say I done been through there. And learning how to embrace every moment of it. Because all of it had to happen. I would not be sitting here right now if it wasn't for any of that. I had a bullet still in my arm right now. Nobody ever knew.
So now, in surviving that, I don't hear victim. I don't hear you saying that. Why me?
No.
Because a lot of times when people have things happen to them, I talk to people I counsel or used to counsel. And when I did my counseling, I had so many people like, well, what happened to me? And I didn't do anything. And I'm like, dude, why not you?
Why not?
And I always say that. And I say that for good and bad. Like if there's a job and we all sitting here looking at it like, oh, that's a nice job. I'm like, why not me? Why can't I have that job? But I always use that as well as when something bad happens, why not me? What saves me from that bad happening to me?
Right.
I think good and bad energies, things happen to us, some because we draw them and some because we've been put in the wrong spot at the wrong time.
Well, the scripture said they work together. So in order for you to get a good result, there has to be a bad element.
I agree with that. Because if all we had is a perfect life, then we can't deal with diversity.
Right.
And when it happens to us or happens around us. I've had somebody recently tell me, oh, I never had something like having my lights cut off. I've never lived like this. I don't know how to handle it. Really? You should have came to my house then, nigga. We ain't have gas. I remember one day, and I know I'm going back. I remember one day, and this is one of the reasons why I probably didn't have any boyfriends or anything in high school. We ain't had no gas. I mean, you ain't coming over my house and my gas cut off every damn winter. We ain't had no gas. We might have had the lights cut off. I went through 4 years of high school without a phone. So, being on the phone ain't no big deal to me.
Right.
Because it was my mother and me. and she didn't let me work. So it was just her working 2 and 3 jobs and having certain. I had bills in my name. When they say little kids had bills in their name, I had bills in my name.
Wow.
When I turned 18, DTE was like, "Hello." I was like, I had to send birth certificates and everything in to say that I was legally unable to enter into a contract, which is a great law in Michigan. But under the age of, you can't engage in a contract under the age of, I think it's 16. But I had to do all of that. But that's not even. That's just the tip of the iceberg on some of the stuff that I've been through and seen. I don't ever look at myself as a victim. So when I heard this person talking about, I never had, I'm like, okay.
Oh, little teeny,
right. I was like,
What
right.
have you done
Okay.
in
Get
your
over
life?
it. Damn. I mean, I said, they got fall now. Shit.
Right.
They have fall back then.
Right.
They got fall, thaw, focus, hope. They got all kinds of things to help you then.
Wow.
But I just always thought how amazing. And so when I listened to this person, this just recently, we had this conversation like last week, and I'm sitting there looking and I'm thinking, so we gonna play victim now because the lights are not working or something. And not that it's not, I am not coming down on anybody who has fallen into the spirit of being a victim and not been able to outcome and overcome, because it is what it is. And I pray that you get that past that in your life. But come on, I can't. People always tell me that I'm short or I'm not as I don't have compassion or empathy for people. It's not that I don't have compassion or empathy. It's just I'm a realist and I see that what's really in front of me, and I just think some things that we just stop being a victim. Some of us enjoy the life of victim. I said we grow up in the village of victim. We live on Victim Street. My cousin is named Victim Less, and here go Victim More over here, and I'm just Victim E. And I enjoy this place. And just like people who get here and enjoy being on top, some people enjoy that place. I've had people tell me, "Oh, well, you don't understand. She was molested when she was growing up, and this happened to her, and you ain't gonna never understand that." Really? Been there, done that, overcame.
Right.
So it's not. I understand. I'm not gonna be in your spot because I can't take your perspective on and saying that I'm the victim of the world and everybody done came for me, because they haven't. But what I can say is, there's always hope and there's things you can do. Instead of being a victim and looking for counsel, look for counsel and find somebody who's going to counsel you through this.
Right.
Somebody's going to help you.
Right.
Read this book. This is at Amazon.com.
Right.
Because there's so many ways to get past all of the things that we've gone through. I agree that the diversity that I've had, the challenges that I've had in my life, made me a better person. I'm not the best. I am nowhere by far do I claim to be perfect or the better person. Sometimes when I get to sprue and shit out my mouth, you might think I think I'm perfect, but I don't. But I do claim that I've always been a victor.
Yeah.
I have never claimed being a victim. I don't care if you just whooped my ass and drug me down Woodward Avenue. I'd be like, I still hung in there. I'm like, you know where you been. You ain't coming back, baby. Because that's who I am. That's my thing. I might fall down. I'm getting back up. I'd be like, damn, I'm back again. I'm here. I ain't going nowhere. I got 121 years on this planet. That's what me and my worker have worked out. We here.
Right.
I'm going to be old and decrepit, and I'm going to still be here. And so I have a lot to do in those years. I'm not doing it on the thing, that, my path that I probably need to, but I think I will get it done before. I might not be on time, but I'm never late.
Right.
I think I'm going to get things done on time. I might not be on time, but I'm not going to be late with getting them done. And I think if we all work towards that, I think this book, this is me, I know I keep harping on it, but I think the pain won't change my mind. I think the pain is emotional pain, it's physical pain, it is psychosocial pain. It's pain is not even really what might not be pain to you and I.
Yeah.
It could be somebody else going through some anxiety, going through some stress, and they're like, I can't deal with it. I've seen people shut down.
Yeah.
I have seen grown men shut down
me too.
from things that happened to them 25, 30 years ago. I've seen grown men cry and tell me about things that happened, and they look at me and I'm just as dry-eyed as ever, and I'm like, okay, well, what we gonna do different now? Because that's what I'm always saying. How can we do this differently? What can we do to make it better?
Well, they can start by watching
Laugh Talk
on WJZZ Cool T, the coolest station in the world. Streaming live every Monday at 7 p.m. on Facebook, Twitter Live, and YouTube. Please subscribe, share, like, and comment.
And share to somebody that you think may want to hear this message from Pastor Nina Nero. Follow her on Facebook, right? Nina Nero Ministries. Are you on Instagram?
Yeah.
What's your Instagram?
Nina_4715. I'm on Twitter, Nina Nero.
Are you?
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm
see, I'm not even on all that. I got to get cool. I'm on Instagram, but I ain't on Twitter.
Yeah, I have 4 Facebook pages. I got 2 Instagram accounts and a Twitter account and a TikTok. And
You got a TikTok?
Yeah, I have
I'm
a
about
YouTube
to follow you on
channel.
TikTok. I love TikTok.
What's TikTok? How do they get to you on TikTok?
I'll just keep scrolling until you find me. But
Can I just put your name in, right?
Yeah,
you
you
should
can.
do the search for your name.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have a YouTube channel, Life with Nina.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm everywhere.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I'm
Yeah,
trying to do
everywhere.
better. I am technologically stunted.
Oh wow.
Only because I'm just lazy. I'm just being honest. I am lazy. I ain't even gonna lie. Every time I go on Facebook, I'm like, it just seems like work to me.
Yeah.
I really want somebody. I want to pay somebody to manage my Facebook, Instagram for the show. I just do. I'm being honest. I'm looking over here.
She's the phone queen, honey.
Yeah, I know, because look at her. She's young and beautiful, and you know she on the phone and everything all day long.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we had to talk about that, because I want to pay somebody to do that, because I'm just lazy as fuck, and I ain't even going to lie. I don't want to do it.
I think, too, it's just so many stuff you can get into.
Ding, quick, blink.
Yeah, it's a lot of different.
You know, you said something I wanted to speak to.
Go ahead.
You said that even though I've gone through all that, I'm not living in the woe is me lifestyle, I guess. And I want to say that the reason is because I realized that one thing, and that is that he won't put more on you than
And
you
I truly
can bear.
believe that. I truly believe that. And I know a lot of people don't, but I do. And the reason why is because everything that I've gone through, physically, emotionally, I deal with depression, a seasonal affective disorder. So, you know, I have mood swings. For years, my kids call it the Brewer syndrome. They're like, Brewer, there she go. You know, because we didn't know. They was telling me it was you having your time of your month, it's your cycle, it's your hormones, and then, you know, it took a long time to figure out that it's a chemical imbalance, but it ain't got nothing to do with my cycle. It was something else, and it's different from year to year. You know, some years it's really strong, some years it's not as bad, because if you can catch it, you be like, oh, it's time. Let me do more, engage in more healthy activities. Start to exercise. Start to make sure I'm eating better. Pay attention to the cycles outside when it's hot and sunny out, even when it's cold out in the sun. Anybody in the north can suffer from seasonal affective disorder. Northern states more so than the southern states because of less sun, etc. However, through all of those things, and I have been to the point where I felt like I had a wet blanket throwed over me. And if you ever get caught up in something heavy and wet, it's horrible. It's like it's just like it's like you can't see out. You feel like it's dragging behind you, and it's like I've been there, but I've never wanted to take my life. I've never been to the point where I said, oh my God, I'm not gonna lie, when I went through postpartum depression, I do remember thinking to myself, I wish I could go to sleep and just that be it. I just don't wake up and that be it. I remember those days. It wasn't a long period, but it was a period where I wanted that. I want to go to sleep. I didn't take anything, but it was so much going on, and I felt like I couldn't handle it. And I remember somebody saying to me, but there's more for you to take. And I'm like, what? And it was a woman. She told me, she said, you ain't seen a half of what he got planned for you. You got all kinds of shit coming. She was like, this is just the beginning, baby. So learn how to shovel this off so you can handle what else is coming. And she did not lie. Shit still keep coming around. And I'd be like, when do I get a break? And you know when I get my break? when I go to meet my maker. And there's no break in between there. We don't, it's no such thing as a perfect life. It's no such thing as of having so much that you can't handle, because everything that I get, I don't want to handle it, but I can. And I mean, sometimes it's really feeling like it's coming down. So I want to, again, we running short on time. We got about 5 minutes. I want you to give some more information about your book, where they can contact you at, and know that we did invite her back because we went all off the subject of relationships. But this is a relationship. Our relationship with self, our relationship with God, our relationship in general, just how we deal with things. So, Miss Nina?
Well, you know, something else, a relationship with pain.
Yeah. Relationship with pain.
Yeah, because sometimes, you know, we can relate to it.
It's ours. We own it.
It's ours.
Yes.
So, my relationship right now is so powerful because I've related to understanding God's purpose for me.
Awesome.
So, I just want you all to just be encouraged and be strengthened. Know that whatever it is that you're going through right now, this is not the end. It's just a chapter in this book called life. And as you live it with confidence that it only gets better from here. If I'm already at the bottom,
right?
Where else can I go?
I know that's right.
You know, you cannot go any further down if you're already down there. So look and live. Encourage yourself. You can look at for me. Just pull in Nina Nero. You can Google me, baby.
Sure can, because I did.
You can Google me, and I'm everywhere.
Yes, you are. It shows your LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter. I was like, whoa, there's a lot of stuff for her.
Yeah, I'm everywhere. And you know, I have that show that I co-host with LaWanda Ingram. We come on first and third Sundays at 10 a.m. But this is what I want to do for those of you who are on the east side. Hey.
Oh yeah, because you got to come to the church.
Yeah. We
I'll be at the church, people.
Yeah, she's going to be our administrator.
Yes, with my mouth. They're gonna work on this.
Well, I don't know why, because you know I cuss too. I cussed one of the members out yesterday. I was up preaching. Yeah, forgive me, Father, but I was up preaching and I didn't even realize that. The message yesterday was don't be lost in the house. You know, I talked about the prodigal son, but I didn't talk about the one that left. I talked about the one that stayed.
Okay. So
one of the guys, I was ministering, kind of preaching to him, and I was like, "Nigga, you better get your." And I was like, "Oh, how y'all doing?" Right. Because I'm a realist. I just do what God say
like
do.
Pastors like that.
Yeah,
My brother's like that.
Yeah, I don't be playing around.
No.
I ain't never trying to make you feel like I'm holier than thou. The only reason why I ain't picked up this wine is because we on YouTube. But as soon
as camera go off.
So I'm trying to find the address for you. It is
for the
what?
church.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you where we are.
You ain't said a word. Oh, you coming back too?
She is my personal assistant. When I say I love her.
And she is awesome. She's always there. Johnny on the spot. She has everything. Every time she needs something, before she even can think what she needs, she giving it to her. Awesome. Okay, so Wanda, what's the address? It's 3026 East 7 Mile, and it's at DeQuinda. So it's like the corner street is Lumpkin.
Oh yes.
Yeah, it's a church there called Word Encounter. And we will be there Saturdays at 6:00. I'm so excited. Every Saturday. Starting the 20th. That's next Saturday. November the 20th. Yeah, next Saturday. And so, because remember, we were supposed to start at 6. Right. But the church wasn't ready. Okay. So, we had to push it back. Actually, I was trying to push it back to December, but, you know, Wanda, the same Wanda we know. With all the energy. Now, we can go and get started. I'm like, girl, taking me too fast. So now, question, real quick. So will your messages be duplicated, the same message from Saturday to Sunday, or is it two different? No, I don't know. Oh, okay. Probably not though. Okay. Because I like. Because we have like two teams. You know, we got the same team that'll help us on Saturday. Some of them will be helping on at the
Okay.
Inkster Church too.
Okay.
So you can't preach the same message. You know what I'm saying? But if the God say so, yeah. But
Thank you for
that's-
watching Laugh, Talk,
Right.
Giggle. We enjoyed you. We hope you enjoyed us. Please click, share, subscribe. Send us out to someone that may need to hear this message. Check us out on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch.
Twitter live.
Somebody live. Thank you.
At least we ended it with a laugh.
Right.